Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah, Kodash, uh, double honors to the elders and to the apostles of the millstone, and in our respected brothers out there pushing and spreading the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, to the four of the world. Now, through the spin power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, I just wanted to do a quick lesson. This is going to be very brief on the etymology on the word Easter. And this is inspired by a video that Apostle Tar made. The video of the point of the video being how it's, the it was a response to a video, and in that video, Easter was mentioned, and I just hope to just go into the origins of it, because what these Christians do is they want to justify using that word Easter, but the scriptures doesn't say anything about Easter. Where it talks about Easter in the Bible is really um, Passover, right? Like it. All right. Um, let's see. I believe in the book of Acts. So like it for that. Let me see. The book of Acts, the 12th chapter, and yep, Acts chapter 12, verse 4 is where you see the word Easter mentioned, and the word there is Passover, right? But so where does the word Easter comes from, right? It comes way later on. And so when you type in etymology, I'm in the etymology app, you type in a word, right? And you type in Easter, it says it's Old English, this word meaning Easter day, and it's from Easter, from a Proto-Germanic Austrian dawn. Let me highlight this. Also possibly the name of a goddess whose feast was celebrated in Easter Mono, right? It says the Anglo-Saxon month corresponding with April, from Ost, east towards the rising sun, which means to shine, especially of the dawn. Bede writes that Anglo-Saxon Christians adopted her name for the mass of um, Yahushua's resurrection, although all neighboring languages use a variant of Latin Pascha to name this holiday. Okay, well, you don't get to rename the holidays just because you feel like it, and that's just a simple uh, logic that they refuse to accept. So let's go into it, right? So it says it came from the word. It was celebrated in. It's after a goddess whose feast was celebrated in this month. So when you go into that word, it tells you that it's derived from Esther. It is an Anglo-Saxon goddess by Bede in 8th century work, The Reckoning of Time. So you have this as your primary source, and he gives insight to the kind of life relative to the, he gives an insight to the kind of life the people, the Anglo-Saxons were living. Says he wrote that pagan Anglo-Saxons had held feast in her honor during the month named after her, right? Which is this, I'm never going to try to pronounce that. And this became the English name for Paschal season, Easter. The old High German name for April was the cognate Ostermonath, which has led scholars to suggest there was a similar continental Germanic goddess, which is Ostara. That's because these Germanic tribes were, in the around that time, they had this thing about them where they would always name a day after their god, right? Like you have Friday, which is Freya's day, or Thor, which is Thor's day, and so on and so forth. Okay, so it says their theory was supported by votive inscriptions dedicated to the goddess called Montrane Austrianae, found in 1956-58 in Germany. The theonym may also be a part of some place names and personal names. By way of linguistic reconstruction, the matter of a goddess called Ostro in the Proto-Germanic language has been examined in detail since the foundation of Germanic philology in the 19th century by scholar Jacob Grimm and others. As the Germanic languages descend from Proto-Indo-European, historical linguists have traced the name to a Proto-European goddess of the dawn, yeah, from which may descend the Germanic goddess of the origin of the Old English Astora and the Old Man German Ostara. And so, it tells you that, Easter comes from the name of a month, which is it named after the name of this goddess, and it just goes on to explain to you that this goddess is related um, to an old goddess from the Indo-European, these Japhites, and so on and so forth. So this is just, like I said, it's very brief, but Easter does go back to pagan worship, okay? And the truth is very, very simple. And you know, if you keep digging, you're just gonna keep finding out that there's nothing about it that should have people calling the Passover Easter, right? Because that's where you have things derail and into madness. And now, as you keep reading, you're going to find out that because of this custom, which started simply by um, changing Pesach into, Easter, now you have this Easter egg, all coming in, and you have all these madness creeping in, okay? And, East celebrating Easter is wicked, but, you have people in this world, they will fight you for for speaking on this. And all we have to do is just like what? Just I guess leave them to their madness, right? And we just got to keep on in the ministry of truth in the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So this is just another piece of information I got on it, as opposed to the well, not as opposed, but on top of the um how do I put this? It's escaping me right now, but yeah, like I said, it's very brief. So I'm gonna end right there by giving up praise honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem Shai Brakatham to your Akims and Akofs that are listening in truth and in sincerity. May the blessing of blessing be upon the house. And until next time, Shalom.